All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. My name is Anthony Ruano, Director of Channel here at NUSO. Today's call, we're going to go over the full stack of NUSO products that we have. For some of you, you may have already known about all the products that we offer. And for some of you that don't, this will be a nice introduction into it. Again, it's relatively high level, and it's just kind of scratching the surface of those products and their functionality. But really, the ultimate goal is here is reaching out to your channel account manager after the fact and going ahead and running through full demos of the actual systems and services that you're interested in. All right. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and jump right into it here. So this is our wheel of fun here at NUSO. So for most of you, especially if you've been with us a long time, we were in the quadrant here on the left-hand side. So it was UCaaS. So hosted platforms as well as SIP trunking, along with IPFax. On the IPFax side, we actually offered just a standard hosted fax and then a HIPAA compliant hosted fax solution as well. On the unified communication side, so on the hosted voice, as most of you know, we have two platforms, an orange and a green platform. Those were internal colors that ended up going out into the world. But with that, the reason why we have two, one we had been running for quite some time, over 10 years actually, and then the other came through an acquisition that we did in 2020, or I'm sorry, 2021. And that brought us in our secondary platform, which is the green platform, which is one of our better sellers now. And then, of course, the SIP trunking side, which we're able to go into pretty much any phone system, either new or old, via ATA or gateway if needed. Now, as we start to roll up, these are products that we also had previously. So we have Contact Center. Okay, so each one of the hosted platforms actually have a built-in contact center with it. But we do have two standalone contact centers as well. And this is for more robust applications. One of them being our Contact Queue solution that we have that ramped up. I think our largest customer in that's about 3,000 users on that one. So we can do, pretty much most size call centers and BPOs with that. The second one is really interesting, and that's actually going to get to the compliance recorder side as well. But the second contact center offering that we have is through an acquisition that we did middle of last year by the name of a company called Meta Solutions out of Italy. Okay, so what they had developed is an actual Microsoft certified contact center solution for Microsoft Teams, which that's a really fun one. We are just fine-tuning and USifying it just a smidge. We're almost ready for release on that. I'm hoping within the next month or two, we'll have that out for some of you folks to actually test and also to be able to start selling to your customers. One thing to note on that, again, it's Microsoft certified, which makes that really powerful on that side of it. So if Teams is where it is, and we can also layer that on top of other hosted solutions as well. But again, it was initially designed for Teams. We're able to play around with that a bit as well. And second thing on that is going to be our compliance recorder. So this also came through the acquisition of Meta Solutions. It's a Microsoft certified compliance recorder. Again, we can also layer this on top of any of our hosted platforms as well as SIP trunking. But what's nice with that, if you're actually pairing that in with Teams, that it's giving you the full compliancy throughout that. So it's giving you, excuse me, not only your voice recordings for for external calls, but also for internal phone calls as well, which is nice along with chats as well. So again, be on the lookout for the two Microsoft certified products that we should be releasing here within the next weeks to months. So we're pretty close on that. Then we hop on over to the messaging side. All right. So on the messaging side, of course, our hosted platforms offer SMS capabilities, but we also do have the standalone SimplyConnect product that you have things such as scheduled and auto replies. You can do message blasting from there as well. And then we also have connections via API in some cases, and we've already started to work with a couple of large AI instruments, one of them being IBM's Watson, So we're working on working with that into API and just adding a little bit more flexibility into the SimplyConnect product. Now we hop over to the disaster recovery side. This actually is something that we developed for SIP trunking. So cloud auto attendance as well as shared voicemails. Why did we develop that? There's still so many different customers that want to stick with their on-prem system. We have a large NEC base that we actually manage. Or we have partners that manage those that work with us. But what's really nice is on the cloud auto attendant, the second that the system that we see that the system loses registration, the cloud auto attendant actually picks up. Okay, and then at that point, you can start to forward out to different destinations or groups of individuals on landlines or cell phones. And then you also have your shared voicemails. Okay, so on the shared voicemail side, this actually plays two parts. Again, going back to the scenario where you have a customer that just does not want to get rid of that on-prem PBX. They've had it for 25 years. Everything works except for the voicemail. Well, you can set forwarding on that. So once it hits a specific threshold, since they don't have voicemail on their system, we're actually able to provide them. We're actually able to provide them a cloud voicemail solution for what they have. So again, that's a pretty neat feature. If you haven't used it or seen how it works or looks, again, reach out to your channel account manager. Excuse me, and we'll go ahead and walk through that with you. Now we get into two different things here. So on the NUSO developer side, so NUSO Bridge, that's probably something if you're receiving our emails or following us on social media, we are running all over the place with this, especially our NUSO Bridge for Teams. So what we've done is we've actually developed two different versions of our Bridge for Teams solution, which I'll get into here on the following pages. And then you also have NUSO Bridge for Zoom. Okay, so what we've done, we're part of the Zoom Partner Exchange portal. So if you have a customer, they're dead set on going with Zoom. That's what they want to use for their phones. Well, Zoom actually sells a bring your own carrier license. Okay, so what the Partner Exchange program, or the Provider Exchange, I'm sorry, did for us was it gave us the ability to provide voice trunks into Zoom users. All right, so one scenario that we've done already is, as a larger deployment, it was about 80 users. They're never going over 20 external phone calls. Okay, perfect. So they were able to buy the bring your own carrier license for $8, and then they were able to just add bridge trunks into there. Okay, and you're doing it directly through the Zoom interface and management portal, so it makes it really easy to configure, and it saves your customers a bunch of money. And if you weren't partnered up with Zoom, you weren't making any money from them. And in this case, you can. And now we get into the CPaaS side of network delivery side of things. So we are now able to provide internet connectivity throughout the country. Okay, we've worked with a services aggregator that has actually given us the ability to now provide network access throughout the entire country. So using a multitude of different providers. With that, since we're a carrier, which I'll get into here shortly, that helps us a whole bunch. We're able to negotiate rates like that. You're able to be competitive while you're going out to provide these types of services to your customers and still make some money off it. Now that I mentioned we're a carrier, so part of the BrightLink acquisition that we did in 2021. It wasn't to buy a secondary hosted platform. The reason for that was for an entire carrier network infrastructure. Okay, so as I go into the next slides here, you'll see some of the benefits on what we're able to do with that and why it's important to you. Then we have BrandWatch as well. So I'll get into BrandWatch here shortly, but what it is, it's essentially a number checker. So whatever phone numbers that you have or your customers have, we're actually able to run checks through several databases to see if those phone numbers are marked for spam. All right, so going into our network infrastructure here, just for a second, and again, we've grown quite a bit since some of you have started off with us, and if you're just coming into the NUSO family, just to go over a bit of our coverage across the U.S. as well as on other sides of the globe. So where do we have our data centers, right? So where does the redundancy come from? So we have St. Louis, which is our primary. Then we have Atlanta, we have Connecticut, we have Denver, and we have Las Vegas. Okay. So as you can see, and these are all brick and mortar data centers that we're in. You do see AWS in the top. That's really where we're housing things like call recordings and just things that don't, if there's a bit of latency while we're getting it, it doesn't affect actual voice traffic. All right. And then we have, if we look on the right side of the map here, we have Manchester, we have London, we have Amsterdam and Frankfurt. Soon you'll have some stuff on here with South Africa as well as Italy. But we are growing and we are no longer just that company in St. Louis. We are now a global services provider, which is very fun. Now, NUSO Flex. This is something you've heard me talk about, or again, you've seen multiple emails and Facebook posts and LinkedIn posts regarding this. But what NUSO Flex is, it's actually inbound call redundancy. Okay, so what that means is, let's say, for example, it says, hey, we're not receiving phone calls, or somebody's calling in, or they've sent us a text or an email if they're not able to reach our phone number. Well, what happens is in certain cases, if there's some type of fiber cut or something that happens in a CO, and calls are not able to pass through, because what you do have, so the way that the voice network is actually structured throughout the country, you have a company like NUSO, okay, so we're on top here. But then you have the bottom three providers. So let's take a look at if we were paving a road, for example. All right, so the road's been paved, and there's three companies that pave the road, right? So we'll call them X, Y, and Z, just for that purposes. Well, we have direct connections into X, Y, and Z. So if we start to see that calls are beginning to fail before they start to hit our network, okay, we're able to do an internal port and actually reroute that call to a secondary underlying carrier, which is really, really good. It makes our offering a bit more unique than others, just because they do not have that capability yet, right? This is something that we've actually designed ourselves. A good analogy I like to use is, well, you are using Google Maps to go on a road trip, and all of a sudden it's telling you divert off on this exit, accident ahead. So we're actually able to reroute around that accident without you or your customers even knowing. These are numbers as of February 26th. Okay, I just haven't been traveling a whole bunch, so I haven't gotten too much time there. But as far as an overview of the system, and I want to touch on the flex portion first, it's going to be on the box on the right-hand side. We've done that to 124,000 phone numbers this year. Okay, so it's something that happens, and it happens quite a bit. Again, it's all happening behind the scenes, but without that, it wouldn't be that behind the scenes, because you'd be getting phone calls saying, hey, my calls aren't coming in, my calls aren't coming in. About 1.9 billion calls completed this year. 1.4 billion minutes processed this year. And again, this is data just of February 26th. As far as coverage, so flex coverage is now at about 90% of the U.S. population, and out of 13.8 thousand rate centers, 10,000 of those are actually flex capable. So that is really cool stuff. Over 3 million phone numbers managed international, as well as U.S. And then total phone numbers that have been flexed since we've created or developed the actual solution, 1.15 million. Now, there is no cost, no additional cost to you for this. It's just something that's baked into the network. So again, there's nothing that you have to worry about once it comes to, there's no additional charges on that side of it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually jump into our UCaaS pricing. Again, I'm going to cover the green UCaaS today. If you wanted to go into both of them, or you're not familiar with the green UCaaS and you actually want to go ahead and take a deeper dive, like I said, reach out to your channel account manager. If you do not have one yet, okay, you can reach out to marketing@nuso.cloud, and we'll go ahead and get you set up as a partner pretty quickly on that. The reason why I'm going with the green on this call, well, for time purposes as well, but really the price points, it's very hard to beat, and it also assists with our our markup model, right? Because you're still able to stay extremely competitive, even though you're marking up your pricing quite a bit, and you're giving your customers the features and functionality that they're looking for, right? So $9.95. So we have two licenses on here. We have our basic license, $9.95. What does that include? Phone number, all your standard phone features, right? So your caller ID with name, call, hold, transfer, so all of your cloud PBX features and functionality, along with voicemail, which is even included on the $10 license, which is great. And call recording is something that's actually included platform-wide as well. What the basic license is used for, folks that are just at their desk, are not interested in any type of additional collaboration tools, and they're just looking to use their desk phone and just work just in their cubicle or wherever they're working, and just standard phone use. Then we have our standard license. Okay, that one's $14.95 per month per user, but now you have all of your basic features. Okay, but you have a web portal. You've got your visual voicemail. You've got some additional settings that you're able to set as far as your answering rules. You have a mobile app, you have video conferencing, you have a web phone, instant messaging along with the web phone and mobile app. So that's your full-blown license on there that you have, and it's $14.95. So again, that does leave you some room to mark up if that's what you're wanting to do, but you're also just able to go in there with an extremely competitive price with that. Then we have an add-on that you're able to do. So your call center add-on. If you haven't seen the contact center that comes out of the box with green, I highly, highly, highly suggest you reach out to your channel account manager and let's get on a call and walk through it. The features and functionality that come with that are pretty robust for that type of solution. I mean, you even have things such as request a callback option on there. Your stats and reporting are really, really in depth and granular. So again, if you haven't seen it, please reach out to your channel account manager so we can get on a call. Now, with these licenses, you are able to roll phones into the payment as well. Okay, so 3 different brands of phones. The last one that I'm going to mention is actually something that I've been testing personally for about 2.5, 3 months almost. And I love the way that they work, and they're priced right. So again, things to be more competitive. But going with the 3 brands, Poly, Yealink, and special number 3, Grandstream. Some of you may have cringed. Some of you may have smiled on that. Again, I've tested them out. They're working really, really well. The price points on those phones are fantastic. Most of the ones that we're offering already include Wi-Fi. And listen to this, they come with a power supply in the box, which is, something that's been unheard of for quite some time too. So you're able to roll those phones in. We are going to bring back our free phone promotion as well. Free phone promotion on that, and we'll be sending out something probably towards the beginning of next month, so early next week, regarding that. Here's some SIP trunk pricing. Again, it's this is the retail pricing on that. You have, and these are the bundles, right? You're able to get individual trunks as well. You're also able to create larger bundles if need be. So you have your bundle 6. That's going to include you 6 phone lines, 10 phone numbers, 1 directory listing, 1 E911. You have your bundle 12 lines, 25 numbers, 1 directory listing, 1 E911. Your bundle 23, which is essentially the PRI replacement, 23 lines, 100 phone numbers, 2 directory listings, 2 E911s. And then your bundle 46, 46 lines, 125 phone numbers, 5 directory listings, and 5 E911s. Now, with this, in the cases that your customer needs a gateway, right? They have an older on-prem. They're not looking to upgrade the system yet, but they want to take advantage of SIP trunks and save some money. As we all know, they're continuing to make that push for the removal of POTS lines. Those prices are going up. Saw a bill the other day. They had 4 phone lines with AT&T, and they were close to $1,000 a month for 4 phone lines. So go in there, save your customers money. Like I said, older PBX will provide the gateway at no charge with a 3-year agreement on that. If not, they're able to actually purchase or roll the gateways into that. If any of you are on here from the NEC channel, you've done a bunch of stuff with ATAs and gateways, along with other partners of ours that have done that as well. NUSO Bridge for Microsoft Teams. Why, the question comes up, why are we investing so much money into Microsoft Teams? The growth on Teams is astronomical, right? So, I mean, if we look at November of 2019 on the left side of my chart here, 20 million users, okay? Their biggest spike, of course, was May of 20. Anywhere from March of 20 through May of 20. And we know why. That was COVID. That number ramps up all the way to June 2023, 280 million users. It's really taken a big place in the market, and there's still folks that want to use it for phones, right? So what we did, we offered two different solutions for it. One of them being Platform Connect. Okay, what Platform Connect is, you are using Teams as your mobility devices. Okay, so both mobile as well as desktop applications, because your entire call control is actually on our hosted platform. Okay, so again, that makes provisioning easier, ring groups, things like that you're actually provisioning up. It actually simplifies that quite a bit, and of course for management purposes, if your customers wanting to manage it on their own, sometimes with the call control outside of Microsoft is a bit easier. Again, this is the way that we use it internally. So we have our hosted platform on the back end, and then we use Teams for all communication. The second one is SimplyConnect. So what's that? That's direct routing, which is the industry term for it. And what we're using there is all we're doing is providing SIP trunks into Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams is your phone system in that case. All right. And then we're also finalizing Messaging Connect. There's just a few more tweaks that we're doing to it. It's already available to be downloaded. But again, there's still some additions that we need to add to that there. And then lastly, we are approved for the Operator Connect program. So that's just, you're able to actually have everything provisioned directly through Microsoft on their site there. That should be released. We should be ready to rock and roll with that in about a week or two. It took a lot longer than we expected. Microsoft did have a hold on providers for a bit, and then we were first in line, and we've been working with them pretty closely. So we are getting up on that here soon. Last one, BrandWatch. This is one of my favorite things that we've actually rolled out. And then I'm going to talk about something else that's coming soon. That one, it's not really waiting on us. It's actually waiting on the cell phone companies. So that's nice. But what's BrandWatch? Okay, so it's regularly going to check FTC and other databases. So you have the FTC, you have Verizon, you have T-Mobile, you have AT&T. Okay. Now, alongside of that, you've got about 5 or 6 different apps that are pretty much considered the mafia when it comes to this stuff, right? So you have Nomo Robo, Spam Mail, Umail, RoboKiller, a few others. And what they do is that they start throwing you into databases immediately, letting you know, oh, this number's marked as spam. We actually did a test with 1,000 brand new phone numbers that we created. These phone numbers have never been used before. Not a single call. Within 2 days, about 60% of those phone numbers were marked as spam. The reason that was given to us was, oh, they were in a database and they weren't assigned to any organizations. Well, of course, they're brand new phone numbers. But anyhow, what BrandWatch does, it actually goes ahead and sends you out a report weekly, letting you know where your phone numbers have been marked as spam, and then providing you a best practices resource guide on how to unspam those numbers. Okay. And it may not be all of your numbers. Some of them, it's just, it's just the luck of the draw that they go ahead and do with that. But again, we have this priced really competitively. And if you want to know more about it, just reach out to your channel account manager and they'll walk you through the whole thing. The second portion that's coming out, okay, is called Branded Caller ID. So you're going to start to hear a lot of buzz regarding Branded Caller ID or BCID. And what that is it's actually vetting your phone numbers, okay, through 3 governing bodies, okay? So that phone call leaves NUSO. It hits these 3 databases in the sky and says, okay, this number's got a blue check mark on it. Let's go ahead and send their regular caller ID with it. Those 3 databases are also the ones that are dipping into the others that we had spoken about on the bottom, right? So AT&T, the FTC, T-Mobile, and they're actually talking back and forth really quickly and saying, oh no, that phone was marked as spam. We're going to remove their caller ID and replace it with spam likely. Okay. Branded caller ID completely blocks that from happening. Okay. So again, now the call comes in, it hits those databases. It's not even checking with the other ones anymore because it's saying, okay, well, I know that I have, I've got their approval card in my hand, so I'm going to go ahead and send that call. That right there will be a game changer on it. Some of the actual cell phones, as long as it's a newer cell phone and it's up to date, and even some desk phones, it's going to pass through your company's or your customer's logo with that. All right. So you're actually able to upload your own logo, which is really cool because if you're calling, if you're calling out to a customer, do you hit their cell phone, all of a sudden their logo pops up. I mean, that is just fun. So it's again a ways to make inbound calls and outbound calls is what we're trying to do to make sure that they're actually arriving to the where they need to get to, because, well, again, we're a phone company. So at the end of the day, and that's what we need them to do. Like I said, please reach out to your channel account manager. We'll take some deeper dives into any of the products that we spoke about today. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions that you have, again, please reach out to us directly. You can also reach out to marketing@nuso.cloud. We will be running a bit more webinars throughout the upcoming months and weeks here. So please be on the lookout for those. And yeah, everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday here on this short week, and we will be talking soon. Thank you.